Hello, my name is Carx82 and welcome back to our GregTech Horizon Season 2. I am currently crafting up 10 million optical processors here and just kind of wanted to see where the bottlenecks are, which is pretty much what we do every day. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of see, and I knew these special components are a bit of an issue. And we've set up a whole bunch, but I mean, we could always do with a million more. We're only producing 343 a second per processing array. I mean, it does add up when you have 32 of them, but yeah, we really need just lots more. Admittedly, 10 million optical circuits is probably 3 or 4 Eye of Harmony's worth of circuits, to be honest. I think they're at about 2 million each. 2 million optical circuits off the top of my head. Usually these are about 7 million per Eye of Harmony, and we're at, you can see we're crafting up 30 million of those, so this is quite a large amount. But some of the main bottlenecks here, and you can kind of see it down here. This is all fluid solidifying stuff, and the reason it is being backed up is these space-time ingots. They are slow. So I am thinking, actually, after this craft, I may actually just set up dedicated, I'll probably set up dedicated fluid solidifiers just to solidify space-time ingots just passively. So we'll just be piping the stuff in and solidifying it. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also thinking I might want to seriously consider putting this in a different dimension, to be honest. If we're going to do, you know, like 64 fluid solidifiers, maybe putting that in a different dimension to save my computer, because I don't need to blow up my computer with all this processing. And, you know, and then on top of recording and everything like that, it definitely lags a little bit. But yeah, I am thinking that is probably something I want to do. So I'm gonna throw that on there. Now everything else, to be honest, is not too bad. There are these space-time bolts. We need a lot of those, but I believe it's partially... that's the lathe, isn't it? Is the lathe... this... you know what? Actually, we need space-time screws. It might actually be... Alright. Because we need space-time wires, and we need space-time screws. Wonder if it would just be better to solidify into... like, we wouldn't need to create the bolts to then create the lathes if I just solidified directly into that. So maybe instead of doing that, maybe I should just solidify it directly into that. What's the... see, that's a UEV recipe, 200, 2.5 seconds. Oh boy. There, ingot. Yeah, it is a bit slower. Now, admittedly, you do get... this is one screw. And this ingot gets you 8 screws. So I would have to maybe... the only thing I'm kind of wondering about is we need like other stuff too. All right, see, that's almost 10 seconds for the 8 of those, so... And then... Yeah, I don't know. I could always switch out the mold. I mean, I don't have to. If I decide I don't like it, I can always just go back to doing it with the ingots to the bolts to the screws. I'm just wondering because I don't know. I know we need the wires, lots, or pipes. That's actually pipes. I didn't realize that was fluid pipes. I've always thought those were wires, 2x wires for some reason. I think it's because it's right next to these. I didn't realize those were pipes, but yeah, we might. I think it would actually be better just to do that directly, and then if we need FaceTime for something else, that'll just be in the... I think that's probably what we'll do. Now I just need to... I mean, we should have... Yeah, we have like 4 billion space. I don't want to like go through it all though. But we are producing... We're producing it at a decent amount because you do get FaceTime when these fail. For example, if this... Is it Star... I thought it said Spacetime. Hold on. Doesn't one of them say Spacetime? Oh, maybe not. I thought it said Spacetime. But you can see this has a 51-ish% chance, and if it fails, you get 88,000 of Spacetime. So that is where all that Spacetime is coming from. And the more of these we build, the faster we build it up. So I just don't... If I just pipe it directly in, I don't know how fast it's going to go through that. That is something to think about. But one thing I found out is we were actually oversupplying our Eye of Harmonies with the plasma. It wasn't actually a nice even number like I thought it was. It's actually less. So this actually turns on with 397. I had it going in at 400. So we were actually voiding 3 buckets. Like we were wasting 3 buckets every 3 seconds. I mean, it adds up after, you know, if it's been running for days, it'll add up. But what that was also doing was lowering the success chance. So if you remember, this one, our Deep Dark, was actually a 15% chance. This is the actual correct amount. 21% is what we should have been getting. And you can see this one is actually 992. So I was wasting 8 buckets every time. So wasting the plasma and screwing up the success chance and the recipe yield. So yeah, I have sorted that, and I have got the 3rd astral array fabricator. And so we have one in a tier 3, one in a tier 6, and then now we have the one in the tier 10 as well. Now the tier 6 is 695, not 700, 695. So I've gone ahead and done that, and this one is at 36-ish%. So, yep, I do kind of wish there was it said somewhere the exact amount. I know there's like math and all that stuff, figuring out how much it actually uses, but sometimes you look at that, you're like, what is that? Yeah. But anyway, so we got those going, and you're starting to get a decent amount of this stuff. I just put this one just, it hasn't been in there that long. It's only been in there for like half hour, so we haven't really gone too crazy with this, but yeah. I'm also noticing that unless I'm like reading this completely wrong, the tier 3 one seems to be using the most power. Am I reading that correctly? That's using negative That's losing 1.3 trillion, and this is 700 billion, or I think. Or is this... I think this is 13, isn't that's 13 trillion, isn't it? And this is 7 trillion, if I'm reading that correctly. And then the tier 10 one is like the smallest amount. And I believe that's the way... That's just the way these things work, because they don't actually produce the power as it's running. They output power when it finishes the craft, so it dumps all this into the wireless. But it also, to start, it uses a bunch of power. Like every recipe uses a certain amount of power. So the faster the recipe is going, since this is 160 seconds, it's losing it faster. It's losing power every 160 seconds, whereas these are slower. And then this is the slowest. So I thought this one would actually use the most, but it does seem to be... Seems to be using the least amount of power, unless I'm completely silly and reading that wrong. But yeah, and we have 5, I think, what are we up to? 5 now? Producing, 4 or 5 producing power. So we have, I think, 5 of these producing about 60 trillion EU per tick. Obviously, it's not per tick, it dumps this amount into the wireless network when it finishes the craft, but I think we're producing power. It's a bit hard to tell, to be honest, because you can't just like watch the numbers go down. It dumps it all, and then if I'm crafting, it's using power and stuff. So I think it's a bit hard to tell if we are, because this is actually dropping, but I think it's because we are crafting up. I did do, because these numbers are getting... I was trying to figure out if I was actually producing, and I couldn't keep remembering these numbers because they were so big, but it does look like we are, in fact... Yeah, we are gaining. That's 100 and something million up from the last time I checked. So that is definitely going up. Universium is definitely going up. We're over 4 million now. It was 3 million when I checked last. And yeah, this is the power. So the power actually has dropped quite a bit. So I'm basically back to having to spam more Eye of Harmonies to produce power. But again, I can't tell if it's because I'm running all these machines and the Eye of Harmony or these things use like 100 trillion EU per tick. So yeah. But anyway, that is where we're at. So let me finish this craft up. This is going to take some time here, and we will... Yeah, I'll see what like I said, I think I'm gonna skip the bolts and solidify directly into the screws. I think that will be better. Okay, we are back. We're on Mars, and I have set up more large processing factories, and I think I may spam these in a different dimension. I don't know. Whenever everything turns on in the other base, it definitely starts hitting my frames. So I'm thinking probably a better idea to spam some of this stuff in a different dimension, kind of like similar to our Eye of Harmonies. Also, I love how sometimes the thing is completely black, and then sometimes you can actually see what's spinning around on the inside. But yeah, I've gone ahead and done this, and I actually set this up sort of in... I set it up like right on the border. I wasn't trying to like get it like completely in a chunk or anything like that, but I figured instead of having it over 2 chunks, I would have to like chunk load 6. I put it all in one. So I have like a row of like 3 chunks kind of thing, and then I might expand it out that way. I don't know. We're just kind of expanding the base and trying to limit pain inflicted on my computer. So this 22 screw mold. Now I have a few of them. I don't have everything. Done infinity, space-time, celestial tungsten. These take a bit longer than the other ones. And I figured if we just split them off into their own kind of separate thing, and who knows, maybe I'll even split these up. The ones in the main base can actually, you know, craft up all like the little stuff that doesn't take a long time. So that is kind of why I have done those. And you may notice I have switched them to 64 instead of 1-to-1. We're doing 64 to 64. And that is just to help with the A system, putting all the stuff in the buffers. And I believe it is probably better for the coprocessors, you know, the amount of processes you can do at once. Because I think those big computers have 93,000, I think, but that, when you're crafting up millions of ingots, that goes pretty quick. So that's probably also kind of slowing down our thing. Now, I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I'll finish the other side. But I just kind of wanted to make sure this works. I don't know why it wouldn't, but so the mufflers, that's shared by 4 of them, and then I always do its own separate taping maintenance hatch. I don't want maintenance issues. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work if you share. I'm going to do that. I do need to connect crafting buffer. This is easy enough when you only have one of them. When you start adding 6, 7, 8 of them, it gets like, you look at it and it makes your eyes melt. Because you're like, what am I looking at? All right, so we got the quantum tunnel. Ironically, we're doing the one we were doing up there that we ended up not using. I think this should be good. Now these 3 that I have chosen, we store or craft the fluid. That's what we craft. We craft the fluid. We don't craft up like the ingots and then smelt it down into fluids. Those are all like crafted up already with the fluid. So that's another reason I picked those. Like if there was iron in there, like I would have to fluid extract the iron and then send it over here to solidify it into the screws again. So I haven't done that, but let's do 100,000 just to see, make sure this works. You can see how long I have gone between recordings here. We're crafted up 2.5 million. Nice. Well, that's not great. I think I have output bus, crafting input buffer. If I screwed something up here. Did I put the wrong number on? Oh, it's not fluid. Even though I'm putting fluid in the thing, it's not actually the fluid recipe. Yep, there it goes. Miscellaneous. Man, I wish that would change. I am not a fan of how these things. I would rather actually just have a separate multi-block for each of these. Instead of having to like share. I know that kind of helps a bit, but kind of annoying. Or like rename them. Like, why isn't it just mode A, B, and C? Why is it fluid something metal and misc? I don't know. Okay, well there we go. We are crafting these up. Yeah, you can see it. We were doing 600. Maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, even with the 2 UMVs, I did think about doing the whatchamacallit, the UXV, but I was going to use almost 1,000,000 Universium to put all these, upgrade all these to UXV. Yeah, that was, I was going to do 64 wireless UXV, and it was almost 1,000,000 things of Universium. So I was like, nope, we'll just do UMV, and we'll just spam more of these as needed. All right, well, I got to finish doing it on this side. I think, yeah, it's slightly faster if you do batch mode. Also, I think batch mode is just better in general for ticks and all that stuff. Alright, so yeah, that's going decently fast. And like I said, by splitting it off the other thing with all the other recipes, we can let those work. And plus, this is also cutting out the... this is also cutting out the fluid solidified into an ingot, then extruding it into a bolt, and then turning it into a thing. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, that's right. We're doing a different recipe, aren't we? That's why it's a different number. We are not doing the lathe recipe. I was thinking, I was like, that seems different than I remember. Yeah, that's why. The lathe is quicker. Okay, we are back, and I am currently crafting up a powered spawner for ender pearl dust because we are running low on this stuff, and we need a lot of these for Enderium. The reason we need Enderium is for LUV wires or superconductor wires, because these require Enderium fluid pipes, and we need tons of these for the 12x superconductor wires, because we need gravitation engines. The reason we need gravitation engines is for that, the fuel generator. So we need 256 per thing. So we are going through the ender pearl dust like crazy. We are getting it from our bees, and I have a bunch of them in there now, but we just don't produce enough ender pearl dust. So I am setting up our thing again. We used to have it set up over there, but I ended up breaking it down and putting it on the other, whatchamacallit, the other altar. So I'm going to repurpose this. We are kind of done at the moment with blood magic. So I'm going to put this over here. So I have partitioned that for ender pearls. I think I'm going to do an ME chest. We'll make this like a priority. We'll make this not a priority. Now I am being a little crazy, putting a unfiltered void cell. So literally anything that goes in there will get deleted. So I'm playing a little dangerous here. I have gone ahead and we'll set this up as a subnet. So this is not going to be connected to the main network. I have this storage bus set to extract only, so the main network can't put anything into this. So I think we'll be okay. But yeah, that's in general, that's not the smartest of ideas, to be honest, because usually you don't want a unfiltered void cell. You're just asking to accidentally void stuff. I didn't want to that away. But I did want a output bus. Alright, so basically this will output everything directly into the subnet, and basically anything that's not an enderpearl it'll void. If I need to add more things, we can always just add more partitioned digital singularity cells. But yeah, I think that'll be okay. As long as this is set to extract and the main network can't put anything in the subnet, can only pull out of it, I think we'll be good. But it makes me a bit nervous. And the usual, where the heck do we connect this? This is technically these rows, that's where it goes. I think that's kind of why these are, but you know what? We're only going to add one. I'm just going to do this right there. We're not adding 50 million channels, so there we go. Okay, we should be on a line here. Pull that out. Did I put the other one away? I did. Technically, I don't want it. I think I just want it running in normal mode, don't we? We don't need it. I'm gonna disconnect that really quick just to make sure we're getting the thing. Ritual mode disabled. That's all right. Purple. We could be saving liquid XP. I don't think it's overly necessary. I might put it on the back or something. Somewhere a little bit easier to access. Here, let's put it, we'll put it here, I think. Actually, we could just do output. Do this. You know, I do have digital singularities. We could just save it in case. I don't know why we would need massive amounts of XP, but is what it is. All right, did I? Did I lose a block? All right. Anyway. All right, so 4,000 ender pearls. $65,000 ender pearls. That's hilarious. I might need to do a new recipe. So instead of crafting ender pearls, I actually pulverize them. Possibly. Holy cow. Holy cow. Yeah, these things, when the end game stuff, they get sped up so fast with the tier we're at. Holy cow, that is hilarious. All right, so I'm probably going to need to switch some recipes here. For enderpearl dust, we will pulverize it down into the enderpearl dust, and then we use this to mix with these to make enderium. But All right, I think we're coming along pretty well, to be honest. Other than, you know, just spamming more machines, but I think we are doing pretty good. We got 3 IF harmonies running at 8 times parallel. We got 4 producing power. I don't know. I think we're doing pretty dang good. Anyway, that's going to be for today. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.